The other Joint Secretary of Stand Up to Racism, please welcome Sabby Dhalu.
Thank you very much. It's a bit difficult to stand here and address you without obviously referencing the brutal, horrific attack on Jo Cox that resulted in her life being tragically taken away and her cut down in her prime. And it's very good that the police have finally announced that they are pursuing far-right extremism as a motive for the attack as a serious line of inquiry. And that's about time too, because it's over 24 hours since that attack took place. But I think we should discuss the context in which this attack took place, because I think there is a link between the Refugees Welcome Here campaign and why we're all sitting here in this room and the attack that took place yesterday. So cast your mind back to May 2015 and the election of a Tory government, not a Lib Dem Tory coalition, we thought that was bad, a Tory government. And we have seen David Cameron, the Prime Minister, using terms like swarms to describe refugees. We have seen David Cameron, the Prime Minister, stand up in the House of Commons, attack the Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn for visiting refugees in Calais and describing them as a bunch of migrants on Holocaust Memorial Day. And this is the context in which the referendum campaign took place, and indeed yesterday's horrific attack took place. This negative discourse on refugees, and let's not forget that Jo Cox herself did very much to help refugees. She did a lot of humanitarian work and she stood up for the rights of refugees. She believed in the rights of refugees, and she believed that immigrants made a positive contribution to this country and indeed to her constituency. So I believe she was targeted because of the work that she did welcoming refugees, as well as many other things. And I think it's important for us all to remember that. And so last year we have seen not just attacks on refugees, we've also seen attacks on speech after speech, policy after policy announcement, attacking EU migrants, attacking Muslims, attacking immigrants, and all of this racism does lead to a horrific, toxic climate that affects all black communities, all Muslim communities, indeed all black, African, Caribbean, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Jews, Muslims, all of us that are of immigrant backgrounds. It has affected all of us. I agree with Roger. I haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime, and I've been working in the anti-racist movement for over 15 years, and I have never seen anything quite like this. And what happens when the Prime Minister, the Tory Prime Minister, stands up and makes comments like this? Well, Nigel Farage thinks, well, I could go that step further. And so what have we seen? We have seen Dave Prentice quite rightly calling the Metropolitan Police and saying that the poster that he released yesterday attacking refugees should be investigated for incitement to hatred. And we saw last week Shami Chakrabarti, Doreen Lawrence and Saida Wasi saying a similar thing, that Nigel Farage, for his comments on linking sexual assault with migrants here, should be investigated. It sails very closely to the race hate law. So they said something very similar. So Nigel Farage took it one step further from David Cameron. And where did that lead? Well, of course, those to the right of Nigel Farage took it one step further. And what is that step further after incitement to racism and violence and hatred? It is, of course, violent attacks by fascist and murder. That is what we saw, hatred on the streets of Britain. And so that's the context in which the attack yesterday took place. And there is a link between welcoming refugees and the attack that took it. But I agree with Roger also. I think that there is hope. I think we can win. I think we can convince people to join us in saying that actually refugees should be welcome here. We must have a humanitarian approach towards refugees. We must remember our humanity, and that we must unite against fascism, and that we should stand up to racism, because now more than ever we need to be making that message very loud and clear. And I think people are listening to us because for the first time in history we've got a leader of a Labour Party that agrees with us, that isn't conceding to this negative agenda on immigration and refugees. We've got a leader that agrees with us, so now is the time to definitely fight for what we believe in, and we can win. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabby.